if it comes to scaling sustainability intelligence, I would see the biggest blocker that sustainability information is in different silos and there's very different responsibilities for data. And people have been working with compliance data at scale for quite a while, but it's also siloed and it has not been thought together and that it is integrated. We have very forward-thinking big companies that already, I think for the first time I heard maybe data lake as an expression, let's say 6-7 years ago. And nowadays everyone talks about data lakes. But that you can see that maybe 6-7 years ago, so we had forward-thinking companies under our clients, which already were getting ready to bring data from very different areas in data lakes that they can use solutions to assess these data from different perspectives and different angles. But if we think of the whole industry, then you have everything in present. You have people who are already in very far advanced in the 21st century, and you have others which are just learning what is a digital twin and what is a data lake and are only getting prepared. And that you have this big range of experience and of expertise with that, and also of structural connectedness or non-connectedness of people responsibility for the data with the right to assess them or to access them. So rights to access, rights to modify are often not set strategically. They are more historically grown. Someone was responsible for that system, and it was that department that used that system initially, and then the responsibility remains with this department, even if today it's a much broader use. And so feeding data into data lakes means they come from somewhere. And this question is, where do they come from? And is nomenclature aligned? So standardization also internally, standardized processes, standardize on how things are named, and that you're even between departments are talking the same language. When you talk about the process, already that simple word process is creating all kinds of very different background images of that. If you talk about the process with an engineer, he will immediately think, okay, this is my production process with inputs and outputs of materials, and I need electricity, and I have a semi-finished good out of that, and this process is connected. There's an engineering view on the wording process. But if it's a business administration person, it's mostly connected with the wording of business process. And it could also be connected with a compliance person with the process of checking information. So I have a process, that's also a business process, but depending on where you are in the organization, a certain word resonates very differently with what world is behind that word. And so having compliance and sustainability people talking to each other and sitting around the same table and taking a shared responsibility on, you could call it products or a materials journey through the organization. You have the procurement people that are bringing it in. But before a procurement can bring something in, someone in design and approval has decided, okay, this is the specification that we need, and this is what we are willing to source and allowed to source. And then you have commercials in it. You have questions that are in the context of due diligence of supply chains, that you want to be sure that it's not a conflict mineral or coming out of a conflict region, that it's not coming out of a production system where you have a high risk of modern human slavery. And if it's a conflict mineral, that you have a certified mine behind it. So you have many questions that are related to it, and as many stakeholders that are using that information. So this question of why sustainability intelligence and compliance intelligence are facing challenges for scalability has organizational reasons and data structure reasons. And organizational reasons are linked to who is responsible for the data and who is responsible for providing access and generating the right environment of accessibility to data for decision-making support. This is only in the beginning for many of the organizations, even if I would not say that they're not very forward-thinking and very advanced and mature organizations already out there.